Climate change has been called one of the greatest challenges of our time. One of the largest contributors to the warming of our planet has been greenhouse gas emissions due to the usage of coal-fired power plants to produce energy. This non-renewable energy is cheap and abundant, providing electricity for billions of homes worldwide. The huge downside is, if we continue to burn fossil fuels at this rate, our planet will become uninhabitable. Fortunately, due to technological advances, renewable energy from natural resources such as wind has also become cheap and increasingly abundant. However, in order to develop wind turbines to harvest this energy, wind companies first need to get permission from landowners to lease large swaths of land. Since landowners vary in terms of willingness to lease, employees from wind companies often spend a lot of time trying to persuade the less willing landowners. For our project, we surveyed employees from one of the nation's largest wind development agencies, EDP Renewables, to understand the reasons landowners object or accept leasing agreements, employees' methods of convincing landowners, and the perceived effectiveness of these methods. According to the EDP employees, landowners are often reluctant upon initial engagement in negotiations. Some reasons commonly given for opposing wind turbine development include disruption to farming activity and possible breaking of the drainage tile, noise from the turbines, dislike of the wind turbine aesthetic, especially from the landowner's significant others. To counter this opposition, employees reported using economic incentives to convince the landowners. The financial benefits of agreeing to lease were the most common reason for farmers agreeing to lease. The second effective argument was that wind development is regularly a common effort with shared benefits and effects. The local economy and infrastructure see boosts, and neighbors are affected by each other's decisions to lease. Adding an additional incentive during the negotiation process can be effective in getting an affirmative response. They also emphasize the importance of building a relationship with the landowners based on trust and reliability. In addition to the arguments themselves, the varying strategies EDP employees take in pursuing these negotiations is a critical aspect of the process. We asked EDP employees how often they use each of a set of strategies based on Robert Cialdini's rules of social influence. For example, the method of liking corresponds to the following question. Select the option that best describes how often you use the following strategies when persuading landowners: making small talk, complimenting the landowner, or using other methods to get the landowner to see you as warm or friendly. We tested for all 6 methods as well as other arguments employees may use. We obtained data for how frequently each strategy is employed, as well as the respondents' perceptions of how effective each strategy is. EDPR employees tended to use economic appeals and methods indicating liking. Interestingly, the perceived effectiveness of a particular method did not always match the frequency in which the method was used. For example, reciprocity and, to a lesser degree, social proof were perceived to be more effective relative to their frequencies of use, while liking was perceived as slightly less effective. These results could be explained in a number of ways. One possibility is that there is a gap between employees' regularly employed persuasion techniques and the methods they think to be more effective. However, the underlying causes of this gap are likely more complex. For example, techniques such as liking may be necessary but not sufficient. Establishing trust is seen as foundational to beginning negotiation with landowners, but far more incentives are required. In addition, social proof may either be underutilized or it might be efficiently utilized with the constraint that the social conditions surrounding persuasion are not always favorable. Reciprocity may not often be used if it is a last resort option for the employees. However, its high perceived effectiveness is important to note. Finally, if we wanted to continue or expand this study, we'd suggest the following for future research. First, increase the sample size. For this study, we had 6 respondents ranging from 1 to 10 years of experience in the field. If we wanted to generalize our results, we'd need to broaden the sample to include both more respondents and more companies. Secondly, in order to get a more unfiltered perspective, we could go directly to the landowners to ask for their perceptions on wind turbine development and land leasing. Finally, we could compare the challenges faced by wind development with other land-intensive energy operations. The most similar model is that used by natural gas developers employing fracking techniques to extract gas on privately held land. Comparisons to this industry, as well as the solar industry, could be interesting avenues for future research. Thanks for watching!